We're leaving in 10 minutes.
Good evening. I would like to welcome you to the April 22nd, 2025 meeting of the City Plan Commission. Before we begin, I will outline the procedure that we will follow for our public hearing. As each agenda item is called, the applicant or their representative and people for the request will be allowed to speak. Then people against the request will be allowed to speak. If there is opposition to the request, the applicant will be allowed to make a short rebuttal. All people wishing to speak need to come to the microphone at the front of the room, and please state your name and address for the record. All statements made should be relevant to agenda item and be limited to 3 minutes. If there are several people in favor or opposed to a request, we encourage you to allow 1 or 2 people to act as spokesperson for the group. While public discourse is very important to the commission, we have to maintain an order in the meeting so that all people may be heard and city business may be conducted. If so directed by me, the Sergeant at Arms shall remove from this meeting anybody that becomes unruly or prevents us from conducting an orderly meeting. The commission members have reviewed each of these items in a previous work session, and the recommendations we make tonight to the City Council will be based on the work session as well as any additional information presented tonight. After completing the hearing on each item, the Commission will consider action on the item, and the action taken tonight on all items excluding plats will be in the form of a recommendation to the City Council. The City Council will also conduct public hearings on all items excluding plats on Tuesday, May 20th, 2025 in the Bosque Theater of the Waco Convention Center at 100 Washington Avenue. First item on our agenda is the approval of the minutes of our March 25th, 2025 work session and business meeting. Are there any changes or additions? Seeing none, they will stand approved as written. The first item on our agenda tonight is the amended preliminary plat for the Hilltop Heights subdivision. City staff, what is your recommendation?
Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, our first subdivision public hearing is to consider the amended preliminary plat of Hilltop Heights Edition, covering approximately 10.709 acres within the city of Waco. The property is currently zoned R1B. However, this project corresponds with agenda item 4, in which the applicant is proposing PUD zoning to allow for 63 single-family lots that are approximately 40 feet wide, as opposed to 50-foot minimum lot width if remaining as R1B zoning. The plat has been reviewed, and planning staff does recommend approval of the amended preliminary plat of Hilltop Heights Edition, subject to PUD being approved, and as outlined in the review letter dated 4/22/2025.
Thank you. Is the applicant or their representative here to speak on behalf of this item? Please just state your name and address for the record.
Larry W. Jackson, 13004 Rainier Drive, Woodway, Texas. I just asked that the Planning Commission approve the preliminary plat and the PUD, which we'll get to after a while on the PUD. It'll actually help bring in a nice addition to East Waco, and will better utilize Buena Vista Park right there as well. And by us extending Hermosa Drive, we'll actually give access, the city will have access now to vaults and stuff that they have to go through the Union District Park to come through their property now to get to. So it'll actually benefit everybody.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Is anyone else here that would like to speak on behalf of this item? Anyone that would like to speak in opposition to this item? Hearing none, we will close the public hearing and entertain a motion.
I move that we approve the preliminary plat with conditions per staff findings.
Second.
A motion by Mr. Smith, second by Mr. Lane. Please poll the commission.
Allen?
Yay.
Ingram?
Yes.
Lane?
Yes.
Lozano?
Yes.
Salome?
Yes.
Smith?
Yes.
Cole?
Yes. City staff, would we like to take the PUD item next or continue with the plots?
Oh, we can, if you would like to.
Let's do that so Mr. Jackson can.
You have a second, we'll jump to that slide.
Okay, so we're skipping ahead to agenda item number 9, which is Z-25-18. What is city staff's recommendation?
Mr. Chair, members of the commission, this is a public hearing, excuse me. This is a public hearing from Larry Jackson on a request for a concept plan PUD known as Hilltop Heights PUD for 63 single-family residential lots on approximately 10.71 acres, being described as an 8 0.042 acre and a 2.666 acre tract of land situated in the Thomas de la Vega Survey, Abstract 42, McLennan County, Texas, property ID 413635 and 124200 respectively, being approximately 350 feet southeast of the intersection of Loop 340 and Kendall Lane. Staff mailed out 13 notices. We did have one return in opposition at the time of report preparation. Planning Services recommends approval of this request to change the zoning from R1B to PUD based on the following findings and subject to the following conditions. Findings number 1, the proposed PUD is consistent with the land use component of the comprehensive plan, the purposes of Chapter 28 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Waco, Texas, and the planned unit development regulations. Finding 2, the proposed PUD is in keeping with the purposes and intent of the PUD ordinance by providing a high level of urban amenities and design standards while allowing flexibility in the use in the use and development of the land. Conditions 1, the final PUD plan must meet all development standards consistent with the concept PUD plan and the site requirements of the Plan Review Committee, including but not limited to the following: site grading and drainage, floodplain engineering design for water and sewer, signage regulations, parking, site coverage, access and circulation, landscaping, refuse location and access, and fire protection location and access. Condition 2, the property shall be platted in accordance with the subdivision ordinance prior to the issuance of building permits. Condition 3, the final PUD shall include design standards consistent with Section 28-2 to 3, which is intended to promote compatible design and residential development context to the relationship of scale and architectural elements to surrounding neighborhoods, buildings, and structures, and provide standards that limit the effects of repetition and uniformity by requiring substantive variation and diversity in front elevations within a certain lot pattern. Condition 4, discussion and coordination with city staff regarding the installation of a sidewalk along Hermosa Drive connecting the residential development to Buena Vista Park is required prior to final PUD and plat submittal.
Thank you. Mr. Jackson, will you just repeat your name and address for the record?
Yes, sir. Larry W. Jackson, 13004 Rainier Drive, Woodway, Texas. And we have actually already complied with all the conditions, and we actually met yesterday afternoon, myself, Laura, Mark, and Clint, and we came up with a way to, because the sidewalk that Clint would like to have is actually city property, but we came up with a strategy and a plan to actually accomplish that goal, to help better utilize Buena Vista Park with this subdivision and taking it down there. So I think we had a good plan to accomplish all the goals that were there as well. So we asked for approval of the PUD.
Mr. Jackson, in our work session, I think the general consensus was that the Plan Commission was unclear how the use of PUD was substantially benefiting the public outside of this sidewalk piece.
No, the PUD is necessary to get with the cost of everything these days that we have to deal with city ordinances, cost of construction. We have to have a PUD to go with the 40-foot lots to get enough density so that we can put entry-level housing so that people can actually afford to buy the houses. Because right now, we know for a fact that 40% of the applicants with good credit that apply for mortgage loans don't get approved. When you, at entry-level housing, when you get to this point, $1,000, $1,500, $2,000 makes a difference on whether somebody can actually get loan approval. So we're having to make these kind of adjustments everywhere so that we can actually put new houses on the ground for people to be able to afford to purchase a new house. Without that, the lot density drops down and this project won't happen.
What is the price range for entry-level housing? How do you define that?
Entry-level housing now will start from about $250 to $260. We actually, I guess, well, I'm assuming in the work session or somewhere, they showed y'all pictures of the houses where we were building these and other close. We actually put some there off of University Parks Drive as well.
So I understand what you're saying, why you require the PUD, so that your lot length can be less than what is currently required by zoning. but when we were discussing it, one of the main uses of a PUD, does encourage the flexibility to help develop land, but it is also supposed to provide like a high level of urban amenities to the community that it's creating, and like preserving the quality of the
Part
natural
of-
environment. And so I think that was maybe one of our questions was, you mentioned the sidewalk that would connect your development to the adjoining park.
That is
But are
correct.
there other, like, urban amenities planned for
Well,
that?
around the detention pond where we landscape, we actually had a walking trail there, but Clint wanted to take it down to the Buena Vista Park. So to offset these costs so we can make it work, we're gonna take the walking trail out that we were originally going to put in and use Buena Vista Park so that everybody gets to utilize Buena Vista Park and get a better utilization out of the park that's already there. When you, at the cost now, all these little things matter, all of it. This, just like the one there on University Parks Drive, it'll be the same houses. I mean, you've already got the same houses, what, a mile away? I mean, so,
Are those houses on R1B or are they,
they're on R1B. They're in
R1B.
PUD, they're 40-foot lots too.
they're 40-foot
They're
lots?
40-foot lots too, yes.
Front-loaded with 2-car garages, just
That is
like that?
correct. And those houses are all sold. They're gone.
So not to oversimplify it, but for my understanding, essentially the trade-off is to make the economics work on the development end, we need higher density or shorter lot lengths here. In exchange, on the PUD side, the benefit to the public is we're gonna connect this development to the park. Is that a fair analysis of what's
That's-
happening on the
That
PUD
is
side?
that's a fair analysis of kind of what's going to end up happening, yes. The narrow lots, the 40-foot lots, allows us to put the density so that you can actually put the project in.
Right, to make the economics work on your side to get people
From 50-foot
in.
lots to 40-foot lots gives us another 9 lots. That's how critical all this is getting to be.
Right, and so that's what makes the project viable from the development side.
That is correct.
Is to make this a little more dense, shorter lot
Yes.
lines, and then essentially in exchange for the city is, we need a PUD to make that happen for you, and the city or the public's benefit is we get to connect your development to the park.
That is correct.
Okay.
We're going to take the walking trail out to offset some of the costs for building the sidewalk, taking it to Buena Vista Park. So, because it's about 800 foot of sidewalk. So that will also put the sidewalk from there past the ball field, all the way to the pond, to the playground.
Any additional thoughts of what will happen where the walking trail was before? Any plans for that space?
Well, it's around a detention pond, so it'd just be landscaped, so taking the walking trail out just saves money to put the sidewalk in, is basically what it does.
Okay, thank you.
If you could please come to the podium and state your name and address for the record.
Good evening. My name's Randy Gonzalez. I live on the corner of Hermosa and Madera. I've been there 18 years, okay, and very peaceful neighborhood. And I'm here I wanted to see the planning of what's gonna happen there. Hermosa's been a dead-end street for years, and it's peaceful there. Now, if you open that Hermosa Street, no telling what kind of traffic's gonna be going to there. And for this gentleman to say, my house is, when I moved there, it was worth $130,000. Now it's appraised at $230,000. So, and my house is a 1970. So I don't know where these numbers come from, for this gentleman say that his houses are gonna be $250,000. I don't believe that. Because my house is a 70 model, and they're appraising it at 230. So I don't get it, you know? Like I said, you know, I love it there. I've been there 18 years. I'm a single dad now, you know, and peaceful there. You open that road up, and I don't know telling what's going to happen there. What y'all should be worried about is expanding 340, you know, because there are so many accidents there on Kendall and 340. I just had a friend of mine's wife get killed a month ago because of the entrance to get into Kendall, you know, and I'm just saying, I'm kind of mixed up on what's happening here, how these numbers come up, you know, and y'all want to build more houses. If families can't afford houses, why build them? You know, and like I'm saying, I vote against it because our neighborhood is peaceful, you know, and that's my vote there. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. And sir, just so you know that we hear you, the item we're considering right now is really just a consideration if we can add 9 additional lots via PUD, but the plat to build houses on this lot is by right based on the existing zoning, so we're not currently voting on his ability to add the road and build the houses. It's just a matter of what the density will be. Just wanted to make sure we do hear your opposition. Any other questions from the commission?
Just one more for the developer. And you can stay there. I just want to make sure that you've looked at the conditions, and I guess it's under number 4 on the conditions that were listed by city staff as far as the design development standards, and whatever happens in PUD, you happen to still be consistent with those. Do you feel like your current plan will conform with all the requirements, the design development requirements that are laid out?
We exceed all the requirements that are in there on the design of the houses and everywhere. This is not our first project in the city of Waco. I put it in the project up the street, South Fork Addition, that's 509 lots. We put in the project over there off of University Parks Drive. We got projects over off of Park Meadows in the city of Waco. I mean, this is not our first project. All of our houses are top-notch houses.
Okay, so there was one thing we discussed in the work session, and I can't remember what the design standard was, but it was something about the front-facing garage doors, the percentage of the front of the house that the garage door could be. I know some of the front loading on the concept plans here, we couldn't really tell, but just wanted to make sure you were aware of, again, whatever various design standards may be applied.
We're very well of what the design standards are, and so is city staff. I've been working with Clint for 30 years, so he's very well aware of what we do.
Okay, just want to make sure. Thank you.
And city staff, regardless of how we vote tonight, there will have to be a final PUD that comes back through Plan Commission.
Yes, that is correct. The concept PUD does go to city council, and then a final PUD would then be reviewed before Plan Commission and council once again.
Is there anyone else present that would like to speak on this item? Okay, hearing none, we'll close the public hearing and entertain a motion.
I guess some discussion maybe before a motion, if that's okay. I know we discussed in the work session, maybe tabling the decision to extend. I'm okay with that if we want to do it, but based on the developer's experience and, you know, what he's done, I'm kind of on the boat that I might just move for approval. Again, it's not his first rodeo, if he knows what he's getting himself into. We've got a final PUD that we need to approve afterwards. I'd be comfortable moving forward that way. So I just thought that was different from what we discussed in the work session. So with that, I will make a motion that we approve the concept PUD based on staff findings and conditions.
Second.
A motion by Mr. Smith, a second by Mr. Lane. Please poll the commission.
One second, sorry. Got me out of order, sorry about that. Allen,
Nay.
Ingram,
Yes.
Lane,
Yes.
Lozano,
Yes.
Salome,
Yes.
Cole, I'm sorry, Smith,
Yes.
Cole,
Yes. Okay, we will move back to item number 2 in subdivisions, which is the preliminary plat of the Meinzer subdivision, lots 1 and 2, block 1. What is city staff's recommendation?
Okay, Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, our second subdivision public hearing is to consider the preliminary plat of the lots 1 and 2, Block 1, Meinzer subdivision. This is a 2-lot subdivision located at the corner of South New Road and Spate Avenue. The property is currently zoned C2 Community Commercial. As noted in the review comments, the subdivision name has been corrected to lots 2 and 3, Block 1, Meinzer subdivision. The plat has been reviewed and planning staff recommends approval of the preliminary plat of the lots 2 and 3, Block 1, Meinzer subdivision as outlined in the 4/22/24 staff review letter.
Thank you. Is the applicant or their representative here to speak on behalf of this item? Is anyone here to speak in opposition to this item? Okay, hearing none, we will close the public hearing and entertain a motion.
I move that we approve the preliminary plat with, we're doing this one with no conditions, right? 'Cause they said-
Yes, this is just approval.
Approve the preliminary plat per city staff findings.
Second.
Okay, motion by Ms. Salome, a second by Mr. Smith. Please poll the commission.
Allen,
Yay.
Ingram,
Yes.
Lane,
Yes.
Lozano,
Yes.
Salome,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Cole.
Yes. For item number 3 in subdivisions, final plat of block 1 of the book edition, what is city staff's recommendation?
Okay, Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, agenda item 3 is a 2-part request to consider a subdivision variance and the final plat of lots 1 and 2, Block 1, Book Edition. Please note that the item was submitted as Lot 1, Block 1, Book Edition. However, as noted in the review comments, the subdivision name has been corrected to lots 1 and 2, Block 1, Book Edition. We will first review and do a vote on the subdivision variance, and then we'll do a separate vote on the plat. The request is for a subdivision variance from the requirement to extend public sewer for the final plat of the lots 1 and 2, Block 1, Book Edition, located inside the city of Waco. Upon review and consideration of the request, staff recommends approval of the variance from extending city of Waco public sewer based on the findings that extraordinary hardships or significant practical difficulties may result from strict compliance with the subdivision ordinance regulations, and the effect of the variance will not be detrimental to the public safety, health, welfare, or injurious to other property. The purpose of the plat is to divide the existing lots into properties, one for the existing residential structure with existing septic system, and the second for the parcel as the remainder parcel for future use. And the conditions upon which the request for variance is based upon are unique to the subdivision under consideration and are not generally applicable to other properties. Staff recommends the following conditions for granting of the subdivision variance. The variance shall be granted to allow for an on-site septic facility on the residential lot with the existing septic facility labeled as Lot 1, with the remaining lot as agricultural property as further condition with the preliminary plat approval. A note shall be added to the final plat referencing this condition. Number 2, the property owner shall sign and record with the McLennan County Clerk's Office an affidavit acknowledging that the property will be allowed to continue to be served by the on-site sewage facility until the on-site sewage facility fails and public sanitary sewer is contiguous to the property. When the on-site sewage facility fails and the public sanitary sewer is contiguous to the property owner will connect the sanitary sewer yard lines to the public sanitary sewer and pay the then current sewer tap fees or replace the on-site sewage facility to meet or exceed the current requirements. And 3, further subdivision of the property that increases the number of lots will require the extension of public sewer main to serve the new subdivision.
Thank you. Is the applicant or their representative here to speak on behalf of this item? Anyone here to speak in opposition? Hearing none, we will close the public hearing and entertain a motion.
I move to approve in accordance with city staff findings as to the subdivision variance.
Second.
Okay, motion by Mr. Lane, second by Mr. Allen. Please poll the commission.
Allen?
Yay.
Ingram?
Yes.
Lane?
Yes.
Lozano?
Yes.
Salome?
Yes.
Smith?
Yes.
Cole?
Yes. Okay, moving on to zoning applications, item Z-25-12. What is city staff's?
We need to vote on the plat. That was just for the variance.
Got it. Okay, can we have a motion on the plat?
Do we need to reopen the public hearing as to the plat?
Yep, Public Services does recommend approval with conditions of the final plat, Lot 1 and 2, Block 1, Book Edition, is subject to all conditions outlined in the final plat review letter dated April 17th, 2025.
Is anyone here to speak on behalf of this item? Anyone in opposition? Hearing none, we'll close the public hearing and entertain a motion.
I move to approve with conditions as to the final plat in accordance with city staff findings.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Lane, second by Mr. Ingram. Please poll the commission.
Allen?
Yay.
Ingram?
Yes.
Lane?
Yes.
Lozano?
Yes.
Salome?
Yes.
Smith?
Yes.
Cole?
Yes. Okay, now moving to zoning, item Z-25-12. What is city staff's recommendation?
Mr. Chair, members of the commission, this is a public hearing from Jacob Bell and Walker Partners LLC representing CC Waco 521 Land Holdings LP on a request for a renewal of a special permit for excavation, mining, and/or removal of any material, including but not limited to sand, soil, and gravel, as an accessory use to the purpose of construction on the property of a development or development of the property. Property is located southeast of Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard and Lakeshore Drive, more recently known as 1299 East Lakeshore Drive, property ID 102834 in an R1B single-family zoning, single-family residence district on a property described as approximately 44.301 acre tract of land, being out of lots 2 and 3, Block 1, JH River Farm Edition. Staff mailed out 3 notices and received 0 at the time, 0 return at the time of report preparation. Planning Services recommends approval of the special permit subject to the special provisions and conditions based on the following findings. 1, that the proposed use is consistent with the comprehensive plan. 2, the proposed use is compatible with the appropriate and orderly development of the area in which it is located. 3, that the proposed use would not be more objectionable to neighboring properties because of traffic congestion, noise, fumes, vibrations, or any other characteristics than any use permitted in the zoning district without the grant of a special exception. 4, the available community facilities and services, including the road system, providing access to the proposed use are adequate for the proposed use.
Thank you. Is the applicant or their representative here to speak on behalf of this item?
Good evening. My name is Jacob Bell with Walker Partners, and we are representing the property owner and developer. I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have on this item.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is anyone here to speak in opposition to this item? Okay, hearing none, we'll close the public hearing and entertain a motion.
Move that we approve based on staff findings.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Smith, second by Mr. Lane. Please poll the commission.
Allen?
Yay.
Ingram?
Yes.
Lane?
Yes.
Lozano?
Yes.
Salome?
Yes.
Smith?
Yes.
Cole?
Yes. For item Z-25-14, what is city staff's recommendation?
Mr. Chair, members of the commission, this is a public hearing from Aaron Lemons on a request for a special permit for a vet clinic in C2 Community Commercial District for property described as Lot 4, Block 1, 711 Edition, known as 8810 West Highway 84, Suite 110, Crossroads West Center, property ID 364640. Staff mailed out 16 notices, and we received 0 at the time of report preparation. Planning Services recommends approval of the special permit subject to the special provisions and conditions based on the following findings. 1, that the proposed use is consistent with the comprehensive plan. 2, that the proposed use is compatible with the appropriate and orderly development of the area in which it is located. 3, that the proposed use would not be more objectionable to neighboring properties because of traffic congestion, noise, fumes, vibrations, or any other characteristics than any use permitted in the zoning district without the grant of a special exception. 4, the available community facilities and services, including the road systems providing access to the proposed use, are adequate for the proposed use. These findings are required for the granting of a special permit as per section 28122 of the City of Waco zoning ordinance.
Thank you. Is the applicant or the representative here to speak on behalf of this item?
Hi, I'm Dr. Erin Lemons, address 1804 Old Ranch Road in China Spring. I've been a veterinarian in Waco for the last 4 years and working relief the last 2. Several of those shifts were worked at the previous Crossroads Animal Clinic that occupied the same space in question. The business model will be kept the same, and several former staff have expressed interest in coming back to work, so.
Thank you. Is there anyone that would like to speak in opposition to this request? Hearing none, we will close the public hearing and entertain a motion.
Move that we recommend approval based on staff findings.
Second.
A motion by Mr. Smith and a second by Mr. Ingram. Please poll the commission.
Allen?
Yay.
Ingram?
Yes.
Lane?
Yes.
Lozano?
Yes.
Salome?
Yes.
Smith?
Yes.
Cole?
Yes. For item Z-25-15, what is city staff's recommendation?
Mr. Chair, members of the commission, this is a public hearing from Luis Gonzalez from Los Troncos on a request for a special permit to allow for extended hours of operation for restaurants / food truck establishment in 03 limited commercial area located on property described as Lot 1, Block 5, the Brookview Hills Addition, known as 3828 Parkwood Drive. Staff mailed out 19 notices and received 0 return at the time of report preparation. Planning Services recommends approval of the special permit subject to the special provisions, conditions based on the following findings. 1, that the proposed use is consistent with the comprehensive plan and the purposes and intent of Chapter 20 of the Zoning Code of Ordinances of the City of Waco. 2, the proposed use is compatible with the appropriate and orderly development of the area in which it is located. 3, the proposed use would not be more objectionable to neighboring properties because of traffic congestion, noise, fumes, vibrations, or any other characteristics than any use permitted in the zoning district without the grant of a special permit, a special exception. 4, the available community facilities and services, including the road systems providing access to the proposed use, are adequate for the proposed use. These findings are required for the granting of a special permit as per section 28-122 of the City of Waco zoning ordinance.
Thank you. Is the applicant or the representative here to speak on behalf of this item? Is there anyone like to speak in opposition to this item? Okay, hearing none, we'll close the public hearing and entertain a motion.
I move that we approve based on staff findings.
I second.
A motion by Mr. Smith, a second by Ms. Lozano. Please poll the commission.
Allen?
Yay.
Ingram?
Yes.
Lane?
Yes.
Lozano?
Yes.
Salome?
Yes.
Smith?
Yes.
Cole?
Yes. For item Z-25-16, what is city staff's recommendation?
Mr. Chair, members of the commission, this is a public hearing from Jed Sudlak on behalf of Benjamin Gonzalez on a request to change the land use designation from urban residential to mixed-use flex and to rezone from C3 General Commercial District to O2 Office Residence District for property located at the corner of East Herring Avenue and Dallas Street, described as Lot 2, Block 1 of the Pacific Operating Company Edition, property ID 333870. Staff mailed out 34 notices, and we had 0 returned at the time of report preparation. Planning Services recommends approval. This request to change the land use plan from urban residential to mixed-use flex based on the following findings. 1, the public infrastructure is adequate to provide for the zoning districts allowed in the proposed mixed-use flex land use designation. 2, mixed-use flex designation is consistent with the surrounding land uses and other area properties that are already designated as mixed-use flex. Planning Services also recommends approval of this request to change the zoning from of approximately 1.6 acres from C3 to O2 based on the following findings. 1, the proposed zoning is in keeping with the land use component of the comprehensive plan, is recommended to be revised. 2, the existing planned public infrastructure is generally adequate to provide for uses allowed in the O2 zoning districts. 3, property meets all area and width requirements for the O2 zoning district. 4, the proposed O2 zoning is compatible with the surrounding area and other uses along major thoroughfare Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard and Herring Avenue. 5, the proposed zoning supports the goals of the Waco Strategic Housing Plan by increasing the supply of residentially zoned properties, thus enhancing opportunities for new housing development.
Thank you. Is the applicant or their representative here to speak on behalf of this item? Anyone in opposition to this item? Okay, hearing none, we'll close the public hearing and entertain a motion.
I move that we recommend approval of both the land use change and the zoning change based on staff findings.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Smith, second by Mr. Lane. Please poll the commission.
Allen?
Yay.
Ingram?
Yes.
Lane?
Yes.
Lozano?
Yes.
Salome?
Yes.
Smith?
Yes.
Cole?
Yes. For item Z-25-17, what is city staff's recommendation?
Mr. Chair, members of the commission, this is a public hearing from Julio Arriaga and the city of Waco on a request to change the land use designation from mixed-use flex to medium-density residential office flex for properties known as 1904, 1908, 1912, 1916, 1920, and 1924 Summer Avenue, covering approximately 1.1 acres, and to rezone from C3 General Commercial District to R2 Two-Family Residence District at properties known as 1904, 1908, 1912 Summer Avenue. Staff mailed out 46 notices and received 0 at the time of report preparation. Planning Services recommends approval of the request to change the land use plan for mixed-use flex to medium-density residential office flex based on the following findings. 1, the existing public infrastructure is sufficient to support the zoning districts permitted under the proposed medium-density residential office flex land use designation. Medium-density residential office flex land use is present in the surrounding area, indicating compatibility with the existing land uses. Planning Services recommends approval of the request to change the zoning from C3 to R2 based on the following findings. 1, the proposed zoning aligns with the land use component of the comprehensive plan as amended. 2, the property meets the area and width requirements for the R2 zoning district. 3, the existing public infrastructure is adequate to accommodate the uses permitted in the R2 zoning district. 4, proposed zoning supports the goals of the Waco Strategic Housing Plan by increasing the supply of residentially zoned properties, thus enhancing the opportunities for new housing development. 5, R2 zoning is present in the vicinity of the subject property, indicating consistency with the surrounding area.
Thank you. Is the applicant or their representative here to speak on behalf of this item? Is anyone here in opposition to this item? Okay, hearing none, we'll close the public hearing and entertain a motion.
I move that we recommend approval of both the land use change and zone change based on staff findings.
Second.
A motion by Mr. Smith, second by Mr. Lane. Please poll the commission.
Allen?
Yay.
Ingram?
Yes.
Lane?
Yes.
Lozano?
Yes.
Salome?
Yes.
Smith?
Yes.
Cole?
Yes. Since we already addressed item Z-25-18, we will now move to annexations. For item ANX 25-1, what is city staff's recommendation?
Mr. Chair, members of the commission, this is a public hearing on a request filed by LBD Wilson Limited Partnership, PCRIF Waco Gateway LLC, Cunningham Interest 2 LTD, and Brown Capital Group LLC for the voluntary annexation of territory comprised of 2 tracts of land containing a total of approximately 1.253 acres, designated in the comprehensive plan land use designation for the said territory as industrial, designating M2 light industrial district zoning for the said property, and extending the boundary limits of said city to include said territory. The 2 annexation tracts are located approximately 2,500 feet south of Vista View Drive along the southbound I-35 access road, and are included within the recently approved Waco Gateway Edition preliminary plat. The area of annexation will be utilized for the extension of Gateway Boulevard to the I-35 access road to line up with the existing interstate underpass. Planning Services mailed out 20 notices and had 0 comments returned. Upon review of the request, Planning Services recommends approval of this voluntary request for annexation the designation of industrial as a comprehensive plan land use designation, and the designation of M2 light industrial, and extending the boundary limits of the city of Waco to include said territory.
Thank you. Is the applicant or their representative here to speak on behalf of this item? Anyone here in opposition to this item? Okay, hearing none, we will close the public hearing, and I invite Ms. Zano to make her final motion as a plan commissioner.
Oh, okay, sure. Let me see if I got this right. I would like to approve the voluntary request for annexation in accordance to staff findings, and also the use designation and designation of M2 light industrial and extending the boundary limits of the city of Waco to include said territory.
Second.
Okay, motion by Ms. Lozano, second by Mr. Smith. Please poll the commission.
Allen?
Yay.
Ingram?
Yes.
Lane?
Yes.
Lozano?
Yes.
Salome?
Yes.
Smith?
Yes.
Cole?
Yes. Before we adjourn tonight, I would like to acknowledge Ms. Lozano's time on the Plan Commission. She is going on to bigger and better things next month, but just a round of applause for her time and service. Did I see that we had an additional comment before we close? Okay. All right, then we will adjourn. Thank you.